What's up my guys, Tundrum here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you my Azourius Flyers deck in the Ikoria Standard. Now with Ikoria just around the corner, we've finally been spoiled the entire set, and there are some very good new Azourius Flyer cards that could be used in Azourius Flyers decks. This deck has always been a decent deck in Standard, but it's never really been quite the top tier, but I reckon with some of the new cards it might just push it just about up there. So this deck, it's in Ikoria Standard, it's got some new cards from Ikoria. It's relatively cheap to build actually, it's not going to shell you out too much money. With the playtesting I've done against other potential standard decks, it seems to be pretty competitive and relatively fun to play, and it's just always a good feeling just playing your Rally of Wings or Empyrean Eagle, swinging out your Sierra and then just hitting them for lethal. Always a great feeling. So without further ado, let's get into the list with the first few cards. We're running 2 Loyal Pegasus and 2 Spectral Sailors. Loyal Pegasus is a pretty solid card. It's a 2-mana 2/1 flying, which is insane stats, but it can't attack or block alone. That's why we're only running 2 of them, but this is a really good aggro card in the start of the game. It's also quite good late game when we have bigger board state. Then we're running 4 Spectral Sailor. It's a 1-mana 1/1 Spirit Pilot with Flash and Flying, and we can pay 4 to draw a card. This is good early game because it's a nice flash and body. You can block some of their important creatures with 1 toughness, and you can flash it on the end step and then start swinging. And then later game it provides some really nice card advantage, making us, when we dud on a land drop later on, be able to keep picking up cards until we find something. Pretty solid card, and it's definitely worth 4 of. Coming up next, we're running 4 Healer's Hawk and 4 Rally of Wings. Now, Healer's Hawk, it's a really good card. It's a 1-mana, 1/1 flying lifelink. That's just about it. It's not too insane, but the fact that it has lifelink actually becomes really viable. It helps us out-aggro decks, because we are extremely aggressive, but we're not quite that enough aggressive to out-aggro most mono-red decks yet. But this lifelink really helps us get ahead on the clock. And then Rally of Wings is a really solid card. It essentially says 2 mana, untap all creatures you control, and they all get 2/2. This is so good. It only works on creatures with flying, but all our creatures have flying, so this is so good. It can, if your enemy's going up for a big swing and all your stuff is tapped, you suddenly play this, untap them all, and then just kill their whole board. Or on your turn, you can attack, and then it essentially gives all your creatures vigilance and 2/2. And an even better combo is when you tap out your creatures to cast Saphira, and then you play this and untap them all, and then swing for lethal. Absolutely insane. Coming up next, we're running 4 Skycat Sovereign and 4 Winged Words. Skycat Sovereign is the best card in Ikoria for this deck. It's just so good. It's a 2-mana creature, 1/1 creature elemental cat with flying. And it says it gets 1/1 for each other creature you control with flying. This is so good. A 2-mana 1/1 that gets 1/1 for each other creature we control, essentially. So good. And we can pay 4 to create a 1/1 cat bird creature token with flying. This is also really good. It buffs the Skycat and creates a 1/1 body, which is really good for all our Lord effects, all our things like Saphira. It's just so good. Really insane card. And then we've also got Winged Words, which is also busted. It's a 2-mana sorcery that draws us 2, but as long as we control a creature, essentially, it only costs 2 to draw 2 cards, which is busted in any deck. Next up, we're running 4 Empyrean Eagle and 4 Brazen Borrower. Empyrean Eagle, kind of essential in flying decks. It's a 3-mana 2/3 flying, and it gives all our other flyers 1/1. Really good, really solid card, definitely worth the include. And then we have Brazen Borrower, which was one of the most busted cards in Standard. It's a 3-mana 3/1 creature Fury Rogue with flash and flying, which is decent, and it can only block creatures with flying, which we might be running a few of because the 3-mana 3/1 flying is decent stats. But realistically, the best thing about it is it has that nice petty effect. Later in the game, if your enemy's threatening to out-aggro you with things like Anax or Embercleave, you can flash this in, get rid of them. It can slow your enemies down by a whole turn, really good. Shuts down a lot of sack things, Uro things, really disrupts them, and it has that nice body later on. Coming up next, we're running 2 God Eternal Kefnet and 4 Sky Tether. Now, I was originally running Elite Gar Mages in Kefnet slot, but I realised Kefnet's just so much better. He's a 4-mana 4/5 when Elite Gar Mage is only a 2/2, so you're actually getting a 2/2 stats buff with flying, and we're only running 2, so the Legendary doesn't really hurt. Really insane stats already. And then he says, whenever you draw your first card this turn, each turn you may reveal it, If you do, it's an instant, create a copy of, if it's an instant or sorcery, you make a copy and it costs 2 less. So this can get us 1 mana Winged Words or 1 mana Rally of Wings at the start of our turn for extra card advantage. Super insane. And then we can recast it as well. Busted if we get a trigger off this. And when it dies or is put into exile from the battlefield, you get to put it into your library third from the top. And he's one of our biggest threats in the deck, so we just keep bringing him back and back. Really insane card, definitely worth the include. And then we're running 4 Sky Tether. I didn't actually notice this card before, because I used to play this deck, but recently I've realised how good it is. It's a 1 mana enchantment, and it says enchanted creature has defender and loses flying. So essentially, if it loses flying, it can't block any of our stuff, and if it has defender, it can't attack. So this is essentially 1 mana target creature can't attack or block. This is so good in the standard meta as well, because things like Uro and what's the other one, Croxa, you just enchant them, which are some of the most viable cards right now. Not sure they will be after Ikoria, but I still think they'll be really solid. You enchant them, and then they're essentially permanently shut down for 1 mana. This card is so good. Then we're running 3 Saphira and 1 Hand Executioner. Saphira is a 7 mana 7/7 with flying and lifelink, and she says all other creatures with flying have indestructible. And the main thing that makes her OP, as well as this massive body and giving all her stuff indestructible, is instead of casting her, we may pay a mere 1 mana and tap 4 untapped flyers, and then bring her in. 4 untapped flyers, we can normally get her on turn 4, quite easily. Then she gives all that stuff indestructible, so if your enemy board wipes, it only kills her. And a 7/7 is just insane. It just puts a brick wall against any aggro decks they can't get through, makes all your other stuff immortal. If you get swings in, it normally a 1 or 2 clock and your enemy's dead. Plus it gains you life in the process. And then, yeah, she's insane. And Hand Executioner, we're just running a 1 of 3 mana for 2 1/1 bodies, is really solid with all our Lord effects and things like Saphira. And we can also pay for and exile the Hand Executioner to exile target creature, which is really good against things like I said before, Uro and Croxa, which are 2 of the most viable creatures in the meta right now. Now we're on to the sideboard. In the sideboard, I would advise running 2 God's Willing. This is good against lots of removal-based decks and to get in a lethal swing at the end. 2 Hand Executioner. We're just running more of these for, let's say, another more Uro decks if we need more removal against decks like that. We're running 2 Dungeon Guys, also kind of for Uro, Croxa-based decks. Really just a 4 mana free body that shuts something down for as long as it's on is really solid. I was considering running it over Kevnet, but I decided it's better in the sideboard. We're running 3 Elite Guard Mages. This is quite good against aggro. A 2 free body is a brick wall against most aggressive creatures in the format. And when it enters, it gains us free life and draws a card, so we can keep placing down creatures and replenishes our life. We're running 3 Staggering Insight. This card's really solid. Nearly made it into the main, which this card is just good because 2 mana gives the creature 1 mana lifelink, and whenever it hits the enemy, draw a card. This is really good against aggro decks, makes our clock a lot quicker than ours by gaining back all the life, and can get us heaps of card advantage because their flyers are really hard to block. This card's really good. And 3 Devout Decree. This is really good against Rakdos type decks because it's a mere 2 mana at exiles target creature or planeswalker. That's black or red, and you get a scry 1. This is really good raid. And in the mana base, really all I advise is just 4 Hallowed Fountain, maybe 1 Castle Ventress, and the rest just 8 islands and 7 plains, or 8 plains and 7 islands, depending on what you feel like. And yeah guys, that completes the video. If you want to see more from me, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, hope to see you next time.